Did you see the fight that's reportedly being worked on for December 19th in Miami?
Did I see the fight being worked on December 19th in Miami?
Yeah.
No.
Do you know which fight I'm talking about?
No.
Fair enough.
Oh, Jesus. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea.
Up and fights AJ, I will be the first to hold my hands up and go fair play. He'd have to be crazy to do it. He would have to be crazy to do it. Jake Paul's never really fought anyone major, like, you know, when's he going to step up and fight a real fighter? I mean, this would definitely be one way to kill that narrative.
But Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position after the loss to Daniel Dubois. Jake Paul, if this is not going to be, you know, curated into a little dance around exhibition, could find himself in a way of getting seriously hurt here like Francis Ngannou did.
UFC President Dana White has weighed in with a scathing critique of the highly anticipated Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul bout, calling it a mismatch that undermines the integrity of professional boxing. White, never one to shy away from controversy, questioned the legitimacy of a fight pitting a seasoned former world heavyweight champion against a YouTube sensation-turned boxer. His remarks have sparked heated debates across social media, with fans divided over whether the matchup is a savvy marketing move or a blatant spectacle that diminishes the sport.
Is the burnt bridge with my brother unfixable?
I don't hate your brother. You guys need to fight guys your same size.
White didn't hold back, suggesting that Joshua stepping into the ring with Paul doesn't make sense for boxing and could set a dangerous precedent where skill and experience take a backseat to fame and clicks. He argued that while celebrity fights might generate massive pay-per-view numbers, they risk turning the sport into a sideshow rather than a true test of athletic prowess. Eddie Hearn has now confirmed that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul clash will not be an exhibition, but a fully sanctioned professional bout, raising the stakes far higher than many initially expected. What started as a spectacle-driven matchup has suddenly become a legitimate fight with real consequences for both men's careers. Hearn emphasized that Joshua is preparing as if he's facing a top contender, not a crossover celebrity, warning that Paul may not understand the level of danger he's walking into. With the fight now pushed forward to December 19th after the Tank Davis cancellation, the boxing world has been thrown into a frenzy.
He has people around him that will be saying to him, mate, Anthony hasn't boxed for a year and a half. Mate, Anthony got dropped in his last fight. Anthony's head's all over the place. He's gone. So listen, fair play. If he steps up and fights AJ, I will be the first to hold my hands up and go fair fucking play. He'd have to be crazy to do it. He would have to be crazy to do it. Jake Paul's never really fought anyone major, like, you know, when's he going to step up and fight a real fighter? I mean, this would definitely be one way to kill that narrative, but it would be a dangerous one. If we're offered it, and the money that I know is inevitable in a fight like that, it would be very difficult for us to turn it down. And I know some people will find a reason to not like it and moan, but I'm just going to give it to you straight always. We were going to have a run out this year in an 8-rounder against someone in the top, I don't know, 120 on BoxRec that you've never heard of. We could have a run out against Jake Paul, end him in boxing forever, get rid of this whole little silly thing, and make about 50 or 60x in the process. How can you turn it down? So if it's real, there is a chance. Jake's won fights that I didn't think he'd win. And Jake has got a lot better over the last couple of years. He ain't in Anthony Joshua's league, that's for sure. The only way this fight happens, if it's a fight, it's a sanctioned fight. I mean, ultimately, it's a cruiserweight stepping up to fight a heavyweight. I mean, previously, what did you have? You had a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, but that was an exhibition. This is no exhibition. This is the 10-ounce big boys, and this is a real fight. We've already really got our plans with Turki Al-Sheikh for 2026, which is ultimately to fight Tyson Fury, but also to have another fight in February. We got the phone call to say, look, obviously Gervonta's out. Would you be interested in December? And the only other options we had for December was to do an 8-rounder on a card somewhere, which I didn't even know was going to happen. So I said to Nikisa, if you're truthful about this, which he assures me Jake is, then it could happen. So let's live in the real world, yeah? And let's just, everybody stay calm and make logical business decisions. What would you do, right? And please don't give me the, yes, but you have to think about the legacy here. You can't eat legacy, and legacy is so important. By the way, he's an Olympic gold medalist, a 2-time world heavyweight champion. The legacy's okay. I wouldn't let him not take this fight. I would push him in the ring to take this fight. So if you want to blame someone, blame me. Just relax. One, I don't even know if it's going to happen. Two, if it does, just relax. Enjoy us going in there for boxing and sticking one on his chin. We'll go back, we'll fight Tyson Fury, etc. So just relax. But how can you say no? How can you say no? What am I missing?
After his dominant win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Jake Paul confirmed that his long-awaited showdown with Anthony Joshua is looking very likely for next year. However, with the sudden cancellation of his fight against Tank Davis, the bout has been moved up, now scheduled to take place next month on December 19th. This sudden shift has only intensified the buzz around the fight, with fans and critics alike debating whether Paul is truly ready to face a former world heavyweight champion, or if the accelerated timeline favors spectacle over sporting merit.
And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Due to the ongoing lawsuit and active investigation, Gervonta Davis's highly publicized exhibition bout against Jake Paul, originally set for November 14th, 2025 in Miami, has officially been canceled. Most Valuable Promotions released a statement confirming that, given the seriousness of the situation, they will not move forward with the event under these circumstances.
Know the situation. It was supposed to be boxing Gervonta Tank Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way, way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I've given my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight. It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th are possibilities, right?
Davis is the subject of a civil lawsuit filed by his former girlfriend, Courtney Rossell, regarding an alleged incident on October 27th at a Miami nightclub where she works. Rossell's filing accuses Davis of battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The complaint claims Davis dragged and assaulted her through multiple areas of the club, including the stairwell, kitchen, and parking garage. Law enforcement in Miami Gardens confirms an active investigation in parallel with the civil case.
Baltimore boxing champion Gervonta Tank Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend. This is according to our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Courtney Rossell says she dated Davis for 5 months and recently filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and other offenses. She claims Davis physically attacked her a number of times during their relationship. Rossell claims the most recent incident was Monday at a Miami nightclub. Davis is scheduled to fight Jake Paul in Miami on November 14th.
Jake Paul's audacious call-out of Anthony Joshua, a two-time unified heavyweight champion, has raised eyebrows in the boxing world. Observers find it astonishing that Paul, with his relatively limited boxing experience, would make such bold claims about a fighter of Joshua's caliber.
Jake Paul has just called Anthony Joshua out. Yes, Anthony Joshua, AJ, the two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. This brother called this man out. Oh my God. Now, in a recent clip on Jake Paul's podcast, I think, he basically said that he will beat Anthony Joshua's ass and he has no skill, no chin, and he's too stiff for him. He also apologized to Anthony, saying, Anthony, I'm sorry, we're friends, but I know I can beat your ass. This guy is tapped in the head. But then again, he almost got a fight with Tank. If Tank beat Lamont Roach when they drew, he would have fought Jake Paul. It was lined up, basically. A lot of people get mad when people say he's the face of boxing. These highly rated boxers want to fight Jake Paul. So, I don't know what to say, honestly. But one thing for sure, AJ will never fight. AJ is too classy for that. Way too close. He respects the sport of boxing too much to fight this guy. Absolute plonker. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you follow for the most up-to-date and sharpest boxing news and content on TikTok.
MMA fighter Anthony Smith has commented on Jake Paul's approach to boxing, suggesting that Paul targets legendary fighters to secure lucrative paydays. Smith implies that Paul's strategy involves provoking established names through trash talk, leading to high-profile bouts that generate significant financial returns. This perspective aligns with observations about Paul's matchmaking choices, often involving older or less active fighters, which has been a point of contention among boxing purists.
If Jake Paul beats Anderson Silva, we should all fucking boycott the rest of his fights until he fucking fights someone that's on his level or whatever level we deem him to be on. You talk all this shit about MMA fighters. You talk shit about the UFC. Then you pretend that you want to bring fighters up and you want everyone to get paid better, but then you trash everyone every time they fight. Now we're putting food on your fucking table for you to drag our legends, older, shorter, smaller, past their prime legends that have spent their entire careers running their bodies into fucking car accidents. And then we hold these guys near and dear to our heart. And then this fuckhead just pulls them out of fucking semi-retirement and then just knocks them out in fucking pay-per-view and then she'll shits on all of us. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, why are we still fucking pandering to this piece of shit?
Jake Paul's ambitions extend beyond boxing, as he has also expressed interest in fighting MMA star Conor McGregor. Paul has claimed that his boxing skills are improving while suggesting that McGregor's abilities are declining with age. This assertion has been met with skepticism, considering McGregor's combat sports background and accomplishments. Paul's comments reflect his confidence and his strategy of challenging high-profile athletes to elevate his own standing in the combat sports world.
You think McGregor's done?
I think he has to come back and fight, but he needs to win.
Will he fight you?
I don't think he will. I think my skill level is outgrowing his in boxing, and I have the height advantage. He can't beat me, and I think he probably knows that. And time, he's only getting older and I'm only getting better.
Many fans are eager to see Anthony Joshua face Jake Paul, largely because they believe Joshua would dismantle and humble him in the ring. Paul's habit of calling out elite fighters and proclaiming himself superior has made him one of the most polarizing figures in combat sports. For many, his confidence in challenging Joshua feels delusional, considering the enormous gap in experience, skill level, and physical size. Still, the possibility of this matchup has captured massive attention.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP and Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world-level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high-level boxers, even though he lost to Tommy Fury, is just laughable. But how long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
Frank Warren has weighed in on the shocking announcement of Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, calling the matchup a circus dressed up as a boxing event. The veteran promoter questioned why a former unified heavyweight champion would even entertain stepping into the ring with a YouTuber-turned-boxer, insisting that the fight is driven purely by money and hype rather than sporting merit. Warren argued that while Jake Paul has improved, he is nowhere near the level of an elite heavyweight like Joshua. Still, he acknowledged that the bout will draw enormous global attention and generate huge pay-per-view sales. It's entertainment, not boxing at its best, Warren concluded, warning that the sport risks becoming a spectacle if such matchups continue.
Well, my thoughts on it is that Jake Paul's had a lot of accusations over the years for a guy who's had no amateur fights. What's he had, about 10 or 12 fights? I'm not sure what he's had. And, you know, you look at the opposition he's had and people saying, when's he going to fight somebody? He stepped up. He's stepping up to a two-time world champion, a genuine heavyweight, a proper heavyweight champion, and an active fighter. And this is a big moment for him. And you've got to take your hat off to him for that. As regarding AJ, why? I'm sure AJ's wants a fight back after that, that unbelievable loss he had against Daniel Dubois. That was quite an emphatic loss. He wants to come back, get himself, dip his toe in the water. He's going to get paid a lot of money for this. This fight's going to generate a lot of money because for me, it's a fighter. Jake Paul's going to be a massive underdog against a big favourite, a big odds-on favourite. Can he do it or not? This is a car crash. And people will watch it because that's what people do at car crashes. And that's what this is.
Eddie Hearn recently revealed that Anthony Joshua was dealing with an injury and was not expected to return until at least August, an announcement that originally delayed Joshua's planned fight with Daniel Dubois. However, this update has now raised major questions about the newly announced December 19th showdown with Jake Paul. If Joshua is still recovering, fans are wondering how realistic the December date truly is. Some believe Jake Paul called him out knowing Joshua wouldn't be ready, using his name for publicity rather than a genuine matchup. Others speculate that Joshua may recover faster than expected due to the massive financial stakes.
Anthony Joshua to return, but we've heard absolutely nothing about it. Now, the Daily Mail are saying that Anthony Joshua is actually injured. Return timeline, as Eddie Hearns reveals, the heavyweight is unable to enter even training camp due to an injury setback. Anthony Joshua's estimated return date has been detailed after Eddie Hearn reveals the heavyweight has suffered from a setback. The Brit has been out of action since he lost against Daniel Dubois in Wembley last September. With his future up in the air on the back of the devastating knockout defeat, fans have been curious to know as to what his next move is, with no announcements made, despite reports he could face longtime rival Tyson Fury as soon as this year. Now, however, it's been revealed that Joshua is dealing with an injury, as revealed by Eddie Hearn, when asked if Joshua could face Dubois in a rematch after the champion pulled out of his fight against Joseph Parker due to illness. Let's carry on. That's kind of a bit more of a miscellaneous stuff. No rematch with Dubois will be happening anytime soon, though, Eddie Hearn revealed, as he details when fans can expect Joshua's return to the ring. So we won't be seeing Anthony Joshua in the ring against Daniel Dubois for a rematch. That's not going to happen. I'm going to quote Eddie Hearn here directly. Now, it's interesting because Eddie Hearn hasn't really revealed much detail on it, but bear with me. It says, not a lot to report. Not a lot to report. Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn told IFL from Australia, look, he resumed training, and to cut a long story short, without going into too much detail about any injury, he's not really ready to start camp. He needs another 8 weeks or so on his injury.
Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora has blasted the possibility of Jake Paul receiving a WBC ranking, calling it a complete insult to the sport. Chisora argued that true fighters spend years grinding their way up the rankings, while Paul, who has only faced non-ranked or past their prime opponents, would be elevated purely because of his fame, not his accomplishments. He accused WBC president Mauricio Suleiman of sacrificing the organization's credibility for profit, declaring, "That is a disgrace to boxing. That is unfair." Chisora stressed that rankings must be earned through real competition, not handed out for clicks and promotional hype. Anthony Joshua has finally weighed in on Jake Paul's growing influence in boxing. While acknowledging that Paul lacks mature experience as a boxer, Joshua admitted that Paul has been good for the sport in terms of bringing financial success and big paydays. Joshua recognizes that Paul's ability to generate attention and sell fights has brought a new audience to boxing, something that traditional boxing purists may not always appreciate.
Thoughts on Jake Paul? Yeah, good. Great for boxing. Good luck to him. He's trying. Zero amateur experience, throwing himself in the deep end. I guarantee you he'll probably learn a lot more than a lot of fighters will that are just half-hearted with it. Man's throwing himself in the deep end, putting himself under pressure. You know, when you can deal with that amount of pressure, you have to get better at it. So yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Interestingly, Jake Paul has long expressed admiration for Anthony Joshua, calling him one of his favorite fighters. Despite his recent trash talk, Paul has previously praised Joshua for his accomplishments and boxing skills. However, Paul's latest statements suggest frustration with the boxing industry, claiming that too much focus is placed on money and politics rather than making the biggest fights happen. Jake Paul has boldly declared himself as the only real fighter in boxing, claiming that he is the one who truly brings excitement and energy to the sport.
Everyone's been wanting to see it happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Is this a legitimate boxing matchup or a money-driven spectacle that disrespects the sport? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.